Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good. Tonight, of course, we're going to be hanging out for a couple of hours chatting about a bunch of different things that have happened. Absolutely clown world situations. We have actors turning on the companies they've worked for a very long time at this point. How long has Chris Hemsworth been part of the MCU? We're going to be talking about journalists, classic attacking games, the very things they have careers based off of. We're going to be, just talking about a lot of clown world topics. There's no better way to put it. So we're going to be talking about Helena Bonham Carter coming out and attacking cancel culture. There's not enough actresses and just people in general in Hollywood that are willing to state their opinions because, of course, they're afraid of being canceled. They're afraid of losing their careers. But she came out and attacked cancel culture and defended J.K. Rowling and talked about how she felt Johnny Depp has been vindicated and he deserves his career in Hollywood back, which, of course, that's just a lot of meltdowns. That has got to cause meltdowns of mass proportions because she's saying fuck cancel culture, saying J.K. Rowling's a good person, and she defended Johnny Depp. I mean, that right there is like the trifecta of meltdown causes. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Will Wheaton, this stupid bitch. He decided to have a meltdown on Twitter about Elon Musk. He's hurting our society and making people I care about less safe. Now listen, we're talking about the internet here. Okay, yes, bad things happen on the internet. There are individuals online who take things too far, who threaten people, who say bad shit about them. But first of all, Will Wheaton, do you really have friends? Second of all, how is Elon Musk owning a social media bird app hurting society? Truly, he could argue that social media in general has hurt society. That's fine. I think that social media 90% of the time is trash. I could agree with some points that he'd probably make, because let's be honest, the world was a better place before the bird app. But to blame it all on this one guy who simply bought the app because he wanted to spend his money, that is that is next level. Okay, Will Wheaton, I do not like him. I do not care about him. He has said some very controversial things, and he's just a massive SJW. Again, overall, I don't like him. But this makes him look dumb. Statements like this make the people saying these things just look foolish. We're going to be talking about Willow. Oh no. I remember when this Willow show was first announced, we all thought that it was going to be pretty bad. The big surprise of Disney's Willow show, queer romance, is front and center. A decision the creator says was just organic to creating the sequel. I love Willow. I'm sure many of you have a lot of Willow nostalgia. They should have just scrapped this show. I knew that something bad was going to happen with it, and I think a lot of us expected something bad to happen with this series, that in some way, shape, or form, it was going to be bad. And unfortunately, now we know that they didn't put entertainment first, and they didn't put, respecting the characters first and trying to make a good story first. No, they just put narratives first. I always say it, I'm fine with diversity, inclusivity, but the fact that a queer romance is front and center and that's all that these journalists really care about, to me, is a massive turnoff. We're also going to be talking about journalists hating video games. Classic. Now that, well, this isn't a new complaint, right? But it's just a new article with a tired complaint that when do video games become too long? Oh no. Developers creating long, meaningful creations? We can't have that. Journalists complain about developers not being activists. Journalists complain about let's be honest, everything with video games, about video games not being diverse enough, inclusive enough. They complain about the people who play the video games, but now they're continuing to complain about, oh no, the games are too long, which is just ridiculous. I mean, seriously, I understand, right? If a game is like 1,000 hours, you could argue that it's too long. But journalists complain about, again, developers not being activists. They complain about everything under the sun with games. And now they're sitting here complaining about this. We're also going to be talking about Chris Hemsworth, talking about a potential return to the MCU. So recently he said he was taking a step back from acting for a little while. He, has some medical issues he wants to work out, medical health scares, even though he hasn't really been diagnosed with anything. Just things that run his family. But now he's saying that his return to the MCU would depend on Thor being portrayed drastically different from Taika Waititi's bastardization, which honestly isn't very surprising. I feel like a lot of the MCU actors have over the years dipped out of the MCU because they were disappointed with the direction of their character. I don't think a lot of these actors really know the source material and know their characters, but I think that when you're playing a character, you have a vision for them. You see their story going in a direction, and when a director, writer, producer says, oh no, we're shifting that direction, I think a lot of these Hollywood actors say, no, that's not what I want to do with this character, which I think can be a good and bad thing, right? I think that sometimes actors really know their characters, can do good things with those characters, and they create better stories than the writers would. Look at something like Henry Cavill on the set of The Witcher, walking around as if he was, a Witcher Bible on set. That's great. I think that he knew the character, knew what people wanted with the character. But I also feel like a lot of the time, sadly, these actors get really full of themselves, and then they feel they know what's best, and they throw hissy fits and say, well, I don't want to be part of this project unless it's the way that I want it to be. So I think it's good and bad. It can go in very different directions very quickly. But yeah, those are the topics that we are going to be discussing tonight. Very interesting ones. Lots of maybe controversial ones. But yeah, hi guys, welcome to the live stream. I hope that your evening is going well. We'll get started with, all of the topics in a minute, but lots of interesting ones to cover tonight. Journalists aren't journalists either. I do think that there are still good journalists out there. The problem with a lot of the journalists that I talk about, video game, entertainment journalists, is that they really don't want to be journalists in these industries. They want to be activists. And the problem is that they can't get hired by the political outlets they want to be hired by. They can't get hired by CNN's, Fox's. They can't get hired by real places. So they all had to find industries where maybe what they wanted to do was lacking. So of course, these journalists are massive fucking SJWs, so they were looking at industries going, which ones don't have enough people like me? They saw video games, they saw, decades and decades worth of people complaining that games are sexist and toxic and racist and misogynist and blah, 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 blah. So they figured, okay, you know what, that's good. I think that I'll join this industry because they're fucking losers. They can't actually get hired in the professions they want, by the people they want. Journalists are gonna journalist. That's, well, that's it. I mean, unfortunately, the journalists in these industries are trash. I haven't always said this, but I've been saying it a lot more recently. I've always said that I don't trust journalists, but I've said more recently that I would trust game journalists if they had to show the content they were reviewing. So they had to live stream a full playthrough or upload videos of them actually playing the game, even though of course there'd be that criticism of, oh well, maybe it's not actually them playing it, it's somebody else or something. I think that it would be a step in the right direction, and I think that if they did that, I could trust their opinions way more because I'm watching them review the content live. And if they're just sitting there for 10 hours of a playthrough not saying anything and not commentating, then I'm not going to listen to their review because they're fucking trash at their job. I think it would just weed out the really shitty journalists from the mildly shitty ones. So, I don't know, but yeah. This is why modern gaming journalism is dying. Yeah, unfortunately. I feel like a lot of journalism is dying. Game journalism is mostly rage baiting now. True. That is a running theme, that's for sure. I think we kind of knew that Willow would be woke after seeing that there was an 87% female population in Willowland. I mean, there was, leading up to kind of going into production, there were rumors about it being woke. I think we all ultimately expected it to be woke because people like Kathleen Kennedy were helming it, and we've seen the direction that she wanted to go in. I understand that they did have some hurdles to go through in terms of, like, main characters, because they couldn't bring back specific actors like Val Kilmer, and they still wanted to make the story, like, about his character. So, I get that there was going to be a bit of a disconnect, because it's not like all of the original cast is coming back and they're, like, de-aging them or doing a story where they're just all older, but they're still the main characters, and the problem is that I don't really want to see a story about their kids and grandkids and, you know, things like that. I feel like Willow should have stayed a one-off. I truly feel like they should have just left it. They shouldn't have made a movie, a show, anything. There are some franchises that I love, don't get me wrong, but I would rather have no new content than bad new content. It's like Star Wars. I wish that they wouldn't have made the sequel trilogy, because we wouldn't have gotten that extra trash content. Even though it's extra content, it's still bad, which is the problem. I can't imagine if these soy boy journalists were alive back in the 80s playing those hard-ass 8-bit NES and Master System games. Well, that's the problem, is that they... If every game now was hard, if every game now was like an Elden Ring or Souls-like or like those games, they wouldn't they wouldn't be part of the industry, because they'd have no grounds to stand on, because they wouldn't even be able to play the games. But developers do cater to these people because they are worried about getting bad critic reviews, and they're worried about not getting coverage for their titles, which is the problem. If developers just stood their ground and created what they wanted to create, and we didn't have, you know, Sony Santa Monica's making God of War Ragnaroks where it's like 10 to 15% gameplay and the rest is story, and there's 5 difficulties and there's 2 easy difficulties, then we wouldn't have these people in the industry. But unfortunately, the people that make the games are so worried about pleasing those people that we end up with shit. Yeah, Willow should have been left alone. I mean, of course they can't help themselves. They know it's gonna make money. They know that people are gonna watch it. It's typical. It's because these people can't make new, interesting things. They have to go back to the drawing board and look at content that's previously been made, but it's very unfortunate. But alright guys, let's get started with the first topic at hand, which is going to be the MCU. it's getting hard for me to talk about the MCU a little bit because I feel zero passion for the MCU at this point. A lot of the MCU movies I loved. There's a lot of characters in the MCU that I love. I think a lot of the actors that are MCU are pretty good. Unfortunately, all of the new content and the past few years worth of content have just been very lackluster to me. And I've just noticed for a lot of people, it's not just me, that we're all kind of giving up, which sucks because we want this content to be good, but it's not. But Chris Hemsworth, in my opinion, one of the only good MCU actors at this point, says his return to the MCU depends on Thor being portrayed drastically different. It says in further confirmation that the actor, like most everyone, is fed up with the director's blatant disrespect for the character. Hemsworth has declared that his return to the MCU as Thor is based on, being able to play his character differently in a way that he feels is better. It says drastically different compared to his portrayal under Taika Waititi. I do not like Taika Waititi. I think that Ragnarok was good, but it was the exception. It was one movie that was decent. Anything else he's gonna create is bad. He tried to take it in a different direction. It happened to work. I didn't think that it could work again when they decided to bring him back with Love and Thunder. I didn't think it was gonna go great. Gave it a chance. Was proven right. It says he spoke about his potential future during a November 23rd appearance on Happy, Sad, Confused. It says he was asked, "Where do you go with Thor at this point?" And he asserted that while he was unsure if he would even get another chance to pick up the hammer now that his studio's contract had closed out with Love and Thunder, should he ever get the chance to reprise the role, he would love to see his thus far career-defining character written in a way more akin to the tortured hero he was in the last two Avengers movies, rather than the bronze over brains comic relief that was in his last two solo outings. I think that they will bring him back. I think, now, this is the problem, right? This is all speculation, just my opinion. I think that this is all just a major PR stunt, okay? I think that Marvel told him, we don't have any immediate ideas for a movie, but we're gonna bring you back at some point. And he said, okay, we'll see. And is going into these interviews now because it's going to get fans' attention and people are going to be upset that he's gone. And I feel like maybe they offered him money, but he wants more. So now he's going into the interviews saying, hey, listen, I don't even know if I'll ever be back, but if I am, I want the character to be different. Because, well, Love and Thunder was a fucking disaster, and he doesn't want to be part of shit movies that people are gonna laugh at him for. So I think that it's kind of a mixture here. I like Hemsworth as Thor. I think that he's done a great job so far. I think that he's done pretty freaking good. And I like his character in the MCU. He's one of the only characters in the MCU that I still care about. Love and Thunder was really bad and made me care about his character less, but still, I'd like to see him in more content. But I think that in the next couple of months to years, they're going to realize that all of these star key actors are leaving, right? You don't have Robert Downey Jr. anymore. You don't have Scarlett Johansson anymore. You don't have Chris Evans anymore. You're not going to have Hemsworth anymore. I think that they're going to go, oh shit, we have lost basically everybody. We need to bring people back. And I think that Chris Hemsworth is for sure going to be one of those people. I don't think that he's done yet, but I think that if he signs back on, or he will, but I think when he signs back on, they're going to say, okay, here's more money. You have more creative control. Tell us what your idea for the character is. Which, like I mentioned, I think can be good and bad. I think that it's definitely a 50-50. Because sometimes actors are amazing. They know their character. They can take the character in a good direction. Like with Henry Cavill and Geralt. He knew The Witcher. He knew the source material, he loved the character, he had a lot of great ideas for the character, and he knew overall what should be done and what fans wanted. But there's also actors that feel entitled, which is an issue that we all have with Hollywood. A lot of actors feel like they know what's better even though they don't know what's better, and then they get creative control over their characters or movies, TV shows, series, whatever, and then it ends up being fucking garbage. I think that Chris Hemsworth, in my opinion, is an actor who could make good decisions for his characters. I do. I think that he understands, he likes the MCU, he cares about the direction. I think that if they gave him creative control, it would be an overall good situation, but I don't know. I don't think that he's actually gone for good. I think that this is all just big PR, big talk. I think they're gonna realize, shit, we need people back, and this is gonna be an actor they're easily gonna get. I don't mean this in a mean way, but Chris Hemsworth has been in other good movies and series, but I just don't think he's ever going to be known for anything more than Thor. I think that it's his career-defining role. It's the one people know him from, people love him in, and he gets paid good to be the character. It says, though, I think you look at Thor and Thor the Dark World and they were quite similar. Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, similar. I think it's about reinventing him. I think I've had such a unique opportunity with War and Endgame to do very drastic things with the character. I enjoyed that. Yeah, drastic. Drastic doesn't always mean good. Love and Thunder was trash. Okay, Love and Thunder was a fucking terrible movie, but I don't blame that on him. I blame that on Natalie Portman and Taika Waititi and just the general direction that they went in with the film. They shouldn't have done that, even though they did. The Thor that we got in Infinity War was not great. Also, there were a lot of problems with him even in Endgame, like the fact that he literally would have been able to do all of the work himself, and the whole "you should have aimed for the head" thing was pretty fucking stupid. But overall, I don't think that this is gonna be the last time that we're gonna see him. I think it's all just kind of bait at this point. Of course, he did recently find out he's genetically predisposed to Alzheimer's. I get that. Maybe he is a bit freaked out right now. I just don't buy that that's why he's leaving the MCU or he's not signing for any projects right now. I just don't believe that, because while he is finding out that he genetically is predisposed, it's not like he's actively suffering with it, as far as we know, as far as he said. So I just think that this is all PR bait. I think that in like a year we'll hear about a new movie with Chris Hemsworth as Thor. They're gonna bring him back, and that's gonna be it. As long as they don't bring back Taika Waititi, I'll watch it. I'll be good with it. But yeah, Love and Thunder was trash and was not enjoyable at all whatsoever. So yeah. He was pretty good in Most Dangerous Game that was on Quibi. I never watched that. But he's been in some other good stuff. He's a good actor. He's in a lot of things where he's good. But when you think of Chris Hemsworth, and I think most people, when you ask what's his defining role for you, it's going to be Thor. I wanted to see a scarred, ruthless King Thor in Endgame, but no, we got fat, sad clown. Yeah, I think that they should have went with King Thor. I thought that would have been really fucking cool. And the whole fat, depressed Thor, it was comical, don't get me wrong. Very comical. But it wore off very quickly. Yeah, it's his career-defining role. Could be why he's upset how the character was treated. He knows. Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, he could get roles in basically any franchise that he would want to be in. Maybe it's just because I'm a Game of Thrones person. I feel like he'd do good in a Game of Thrones. I feel like he'd make a pretty fucking rad Baratheon. But that's just me. It's just my opinion. The goats didn't do it for you in Love and Thunder? No. The whole fucking, the hammers acting like dogs, that shit was cringe. And I hate the word cringe, but that shit was, it was cute the first, like, 2 seconds. It was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but then it just kept going and going, and I was like, hey, can you stop now? Thank you. It just got, it got to be too much. So yeah, and that's the Chris Hemsworth situation. We will move on to the next topic in a minute, which we'll talk about video games, because why not? It's not a happy topic, but it is a topic nonetheless. It's almost as if Taika had something personal against Thor in his movies. Maybe. I never really understood why they chose Taika in the first place. Again, he did a good job with Ragnarok, don't get me wrong, but it still had issues. It still wasn't perfect, but Love and Thunder was fucking terrible. Disney has effectively turned away their female demographic audience. Actually fucking true, though. As a female, I have little interest in the MCU, and the only reason why I have interest in the MCU is because I know the source material and I know the characters. If I was not a nerd, as a woman, I would be tapping out. I would be out of the MCU. I mean, who the fuck is left? Loki? They fucked up his character too. I mean, Tom Hiddleston's a good actor, don't get me wrong, but they fucked Loki up. And then there's Doctor Strange, who they also fucked up. And, I mean, what other men are in the MCU that are even, like, a 5 out of 10? You know? None. So depressing. Will you give Saints Row a chance if it was on sale for $5? Yeah, I've been saying that. When Saints Row Reboot goes on sale and it's $5, I will buy it. I promise, Volition. Do you feel Outriders was too long? Outriders was too everything. It was... everything about it was wrong. Tom Holland is not it. Tom Holland's not it. Sorry. Gotta say no there. Vera would make an awesome Targaryen. No, I wouldn't. Finish Saints Row with 90% completion, even if you can pirate it, don't. Yeah, I mean, I'll buy it when it's $5, and it will be soon. It will be soon, and that's when I'll purchase it. But until then, I am not giving them my hard-earned money. He would fit right in Game of Thrones. I think that, I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of actors could do decent in Game of Thrones. I just feel like there's so much... let me use the word diversity in Game of Thrones, even though the media says it's just filled with white men. I feel like he'd do really good. I think that he'd be a fucking kick-ass Baratheon. Shang-Chi, absolutely not. A little soy boy bitch. I hate him. I hate that fucking actor. But, yeah, I think the MCU is gonna have a rough few years. But I think that they'll eventually take it in a good direction. Daniel Craig should play a villain in the MCU? That would be cool. I don't know what villain, but I think that he could play a pretty cool villain. Yeah. I think that he's an actor that definitely needs to do some crazy shit now in his career. He needs to do some crazy shit. What house would Vera belong to in Game of Thrones? I would be a Stark. I can admit that. I can admit that I would die in season 1, but that's fine. But I would. I, I, I don't fit into any other house. It's like how I'm just anything. It's the opposite of Harry Potter, you know. I would be anything but a Gryffindor in Harry Potter. Robert during Robert's Rebellion would be Chef's Kiss. Hemsworth would be fucking awesome. But I've seen a lot of people say Henry Cavill. I just don't see Henry Cavill being Robert. I'm sorry. I don't. And I've also seen people say the Conqueror. That's just not it. Henry Cavill, I'm sorry, he just doesn't fit in Game of Thrones for me. That's sad to say, but he doesn't. I guess I could maybe see a Robert, but I don't. At the same time, I don't see it. Like, I'd be happy with it, but I don't see it. Anyway, guys, let's move on to the next article, which is going to be Journalists Hating Video Games. Very classic. We've heard journalists complain about everything with video games, from titles not pushing narratives and developers not being activists, to games being too difficult, to games being too long. And that is an argument that is coming up yet again in video games. This is a PC Invasion article that says, when do video games become too long? Make it stop. I personally don't think that video games can be too long. I am someone who believes that main storylines should be shorter in the grand scheme of things. I think that a main storyline in a video game should be 20 hours. It's not short, but it's also not long. But I also am someone who thinks that there should be like 50 hours worth of side quests and side content for you to do. But journalists just want like the shortest games possible. If games were like 3 hours long, they would buy $70 games every day. They might actually play video games for once. But this article says video games offer a wide range of experiences depending on the genre and the intentions of the developer. Okay. Some games are AAA epics that span dozens of hours and take players on thrilling adventures. On the other hand, smaller indie titles can tell all the narratives they need to within just a few hours. That is so not true. Well, okay, it's true. It's just the way that they frame this is, like, pretty fucking terrible. Like, oh, only AAA developers can take players on long, thrilling adventures, but only smaller indie games can, you know, tell narratives in just a couple of hours. That strikes me the wrong way. Also, Chaos, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says, over recent generations, there's been a tendency for more titles to incorporate RPG elements, open-world game design, side quests, and expansive narratives. Huh? Recent generations? So you're telling me that only in recent games side quests exist? Only expansive narratives exist? Only RPG elements exist? Okay. While many of these games have gone on to becoming beloved by fans and critics alike, absolutely not. I'm sorry, we never agree. Some players bemoan the fact that they are becoming longer to complete. I fucking hate how they blame us. Players are mad that games are becoming longer to beat. No shot. It's the journalists who are mad that games are long to complete. It says, the video games that are too long. A lot of video games have become longer in recent memory, and there are likely a few key reasons behind it. I disagree. I think that recent video games have, in a lot of cases, become too short. Because developers are trying to cut corners and put out less content for more money. And there are still some franchises and series and titles that are really long. I'm not trying to say that there aren't, but we're kind of reverting at this point. It says, though, the increasing popularity of open world game design over the last few generations is one of these. I think that open world video games have been so, just that term has been so fucking milked by people. I like a good open world game. I think a lot of people like a good open world game. But every game that releases now, open world, open world, open world. Shut up about open world at this point. I don't want a game to be so open world it's like Breath of the Wild where there's one NPC every fucking 45 minutes of running. But I also don't want a game to be a Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise where there's literally a tiny little corridor to go down and you can't go anywhere else. There needs to be a happy medium, and I think that developers are so worried about putting these flashy titles like open world, RPG. It's just killing some of these games. Thank you, Chaos, for the $2 super chat. Games should be as long as they need to be. I think that is a great way to put it. They should be as long as the developers need them to be. If that's 50 hours, it's 50 hours. If it's 20 hours, it's 20 hours. It says, though, Ubisoft games are a prime example of this. While early Assassin's Creed and Far Cry titles were reasonably lengthed, recent entries are mammoth undertakings. Endless lists of activities begin to feel like busy work rather than fun gameplay opportunities. Considering how expensive AAA games are to buy, players are often looking for what games can provide the most entertainment for their money. This is an issue with something like Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights is a longer experience, but it's only a longer experience because they have you repeat the same 5 quests 30 times. It's ridiculous. Companies need to not do that. Devs need to not do that. I understand repeating like a daily area in an MMO or a weekly area in an MMO every once in a while. I understand you have to repeat content sometimes, but it's something like Gotham Knights. There's 5 quests that are exactly the same throughout the 8 areas that are in the game, and you have to do them all over and over and over. And that's the problem with something like Gotham Knights. It was titled an open world game. You could do basically anything, go anywhere in Gotham. But it's so repetitive, it's not worth it. It says, Far Cry, for example, has ballooned from about 15 to 25 hours in 3 to 23 to 40 in 6. Assassin's Creed has gone from 15 to 20 to a 60 to 140 hour-long epic with Valhalla. But again, the thing is that there's a lot of different content in these games. I don't think that these are the games that they should be calling out. I think that, yes, there are games that are way too long, but first of all, they're talking about games that have had a lot of extra content. The main story for Valhalla isn't 140 hours. It's 140 hours if you play all of the side content, you get the achievements, you're doing everything over and over. Yeah, then it's 140. I think that there are games that they should be attacking that they are not here, which makes it a really bad article in my opinion. It says linear story-focused games are also becoming too long. Games like God of War 2018 and Last of Us 2 are both significantly longer to complete than their predecessors. Games with a cinematic narrative have been increasingly popular, and publishers like Sony have doubled down on that. I think that this is interesting. Saying that like God of War 2018 and Last of Us Part 2 they're saying it's significantly longer, but that they're too long? Again, I think that this is the wrong hill to die on. I do not think that these are the games that you should be attacking, and you are saying that they are too long. Now, Last of Us 2, you could attack and say it shouldn't exist at all because it's trash and it's dog shit, and it's like one of the worst games ever because the story is completely not what players wanted. That's a hill I'd die on. Again, God of War Ragnarok 2018, the main story wasn't really that long. I mean, even look at Valhalla, even look at Ragnarok. If you are just doing the main quests, I mean, what was our playthrough, like 20 to 25 hours, and I only did a couple of side quests? That, to me, is like the perfect length. I want games to be 20 hours on average for the main story, and then 50 hours extra of side content. But in something like Ragnarok, it wasn't all repeated content either. It was new, fresh areas, materials, storylines, characters. It was good. But that's the problem, is that this article, I feel, has good ideas and good concepts, good points they're trying to make, but the issue is the content that they're using as examples. I think that the idea that games kind of feel too long at times, like Valhalla that's got 140 hours. Okay. Yeah, 140 hours for a game is pretty big. It's a pretty big game. It's pretty long. But you're not giving accurate numbers because you're not just pointing out, like, the main quest or an average playthrough length. I don't know, it feels really forced. Like, they wanted to attack video games being too long, and they tried to bring up really popular examples, even though those popular examples don't particularly fit. It says, oh, we already read the linear one. Making 200 hours feel like 50. Of course, classic they hate Elden Ring. While it's true that games have generally been getting longer, particularly in the AAA space, I do not like this. Okay, I don't like this. They're trying to, like, divide people between AAA and indies here, because they're like, well, some indies are this way, AAAs are this way. Not every AAA developer or AAA game is going to be the same, and that also goes for indies. Stop separating the two. Just say developers. It says a game feeling overly long isn't just down to the raw number of hours it takes to reach the end credits, but how fun that time is. Time flies when you're having fun and making engaging experiences. While a typical open world title may be filled with repetitive side quests, collectibles, and other tasks that feel like busy work, the same can't be said for Elden Ring. Okay, so they're not attacking Elden Ring. Okay. I retract my statement. I said, oh look, they're attacking Elden Ring. I apologize. They are actually not. Or at least in this paragraph. It says games like Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild. Ooh. Ugh. The thrill of discovery in every direction pulls players forward. I'm sorry. I would not put those two in the same category. I like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was not a bad game. It was extremely empty for a AAA open world experience. I would not compare these two games. Breath of the Wild was good. It had its charms, but it was not an Elden Ring in my opinion. It says, exciting unknowns and twists on gameplay make each hour feel different from the last. Meanwhile, things like Persona 5 provide a smooth gameplay experience that makes it easy to pull players from one enjoyable battle or story revelation to the next. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very wishy-washy article, as you can see. But they do bring up that players who take issue with modern video games becoming too long have a viable alternative, indie games. Again, this is just a giant problem that I have with this article, is that they're setting AAA versus indie, and I do not think that the industry should be ran that way. I think that indie games can be long, can be very detailed, and can be of higher quality than AAAs. I think that AAA games can provide the same experience as an indie can. I don't think that we should be comparing the two. I don't think that we should be plotting them against each other. That's what this article does. It's kind of unfortunate, but as you guys can see, they're a bit wishy-washy in this, but they clearly wrote this article to attack games being too long. So, yeah, that's all that I really had to talk about with that. I'll get your thoughts and then we'll move on to the next topic, which is going to be Willow. Callisto Protocol. Yes, Callisto Protocol's this weekend, guys. On Thursday, I will be finishing Gotham Knights, and then Saturday and Sunday, we will be playing Callisto Protocol. Very exciting. Elden Ring has a lot of Breath of the Wild ideas and philosophies, despite Elden Ring having more content. Yeah, I think that Breath of the Wild had a lot of good concepts and ideas, like you said. I just think that it could have been executed a little bit better. But it's good. Again, I'm not trashing it. I just bought Elden on sale. I'm a newbie to Souls, but I'm looking forward to getting my ass handed to me. Elden Ring is, in my opinion, as someone who has played all the Souls games, I think that Elden Ring can be the most forgiving. That's my hot take. Actually, I don't think it's a hot take. I think a lot of people agree with that. In Elden Ring, you can get super fucking OP weapons. You can over-level. You can really fuck around in Elden Ring. I mean, you can get super OP shit. I don't know. It's been a while since I played Dark Souls 1. But I remember in Dark Souls 1, you couldn't really... From what I remember, again, I didn't test every weapon out. Dark Souls 1 was very unforgiving because you couldn't get, like, super OP weapons and shit. But Elden Ring, you can play it and have it be fucking difficult. You can keep yourself under-leveled. You can not upgrade your items. You can use bare-bones shit, and it can be really difficult. Or you can really overpower yourself. But yeah, Elden is one of my top 3 games now. It is an amazing title, and I recommend it to everyone. Sekiro is the hardest Souls game easy? Yes. I would agree with that. I remember when I played Dark Souls 2 for the first time, I hated it. I hated Dark Souls 2. I couldn't fucking stand it. That shit was difficult. I also had a similar experience with 1. But now that I've played the other Souls games and, like, I've seen the different boss fights and weapon types and things that have been implemented, I appreciate them, but they're also games that I don't ever really replay because, well, honestly, once to twice is kind of enough for me. I miss Melania. I need to replay Elden Ring soon. Because according to rumors, the DLC is gonna come out eventually. Sometime. Maybe. If it even really exists. But I need to replay through Elden Ring. Maybe when I'm replaying through my personal playthrough and I get to the Melania fight, I will I'll do like a special stream and we'll defeat Melania on stream. And then if I beat her first try, then stream will literally be like 10 minutes long. Get good? Yeah, I do need to get good. But women aren't supposed to play video games because games aren't for women. Willow! We knew that it was gonna be bad. We did. We knew that it was gonna be bad. We knew it was gonna be shit. We knew it was gonna be trash. Why is Chainsaw Man trending? Anyway, we knew it was gonna... I'm not gonna click that hashtag on stream. I will get banned. We knew that Willow was gonna be trash. We knew it was gonna be shit. We knew it was gonna be bad. But... now that it's just about time for it to release, it sounds way more questionable than we thought it was going to be. So, I don't think... I'm someone who firmly believes Willow should have never gotten another movie, a series, anything. Willow should have been a one-of. They should have left it as one film and never touched it again. They should have buried it, locked it away, threw away the keys, and that's that. But they didn't, because Hollywood cannot come up with any new fucking ideas, and they are very desperate to put out content, and they don't have anyone who can actually create new content. But now this is a Polygon article. Polygon's shit. But so is Disney and Lucasfilm now. The big surprise of Disney's Willow show, queer romance is front and center, a decision the creator says was just organic to creating the sequel. See, my problem is that it's not organic. They go into these series and they have, okay, so I've said, all right, don't get upset when I say this, okay? I love anime. I love anime. I love anime. I love anime. But I feel when I am looking for a new anime to watch, it's like they have the creators have a whiteboard. There's a box that says university setting. There's a box that says work setting. There's a box that says office setting. Then you get to the characters. Box that says shy waifu. Outgoing waifu. Then you've got the men. Kind of a jerk. Really nice. And then you've got another row that's like robots. Sci-fi. Fantasy. Chosen one. And you've just got all these like tropes. And they throw like a dart at each category. And that's just the anime that they make. I love anime! But I feel like they have a board that they throw darts at to make shit. Hollywood's the same way, but just with bad shit. just with shit that could fill their narrative quota. They have diversity, inclusivity. They have what color skin they want the main protagonist to have, what religion, what narrative they want to push with it. They just have a diversity dartboard, and that is not organic, okay? And that's exactly what companies like Disney are doing. You're explaining why I hate anime. See, that's why I love anime, because you get the most random combinations, but shit can turn out so good. But I do feel like sometimes that is what's happening with anime, okay? I feel like it does. It's like, what subgenre do you want in this overarching genre? But, I mean, Hollywood has a diversity dartboard, and they're doing the same shit, just not with things that actually make content good. So, this Polygon article says Disney's Willow puts a queer romance front and center, and it was just organic. My issue is that it's not fucking organic. They're only doing it to fill a quota. I say this 1,000 million times a year, okay? I'm always gonna say it, because the one time I don't say it, I'm gonna be called a bigot. I am fine with diversity, inclusivity, with things like queer romance. But it has to feel natural and organic, and it has to have a purpose, and it can't be the only trait a character has. And sadly, 90% of the time, that's what happens. It says, we're not going to go through the history lesson of Willow. You all know what Willow is. It says, among those children were the producers Jonathan Kasdan, is that how you say it? Who brings a sequel TV series of the same name to Disney Plus with a 2-episode premiere on November 30th. Warwick Davis, of course, returns and does a smattering of a cast from the original film. What does that mean? A smattering? I don't think, okay, I've ever heard that. Not scattering, smattering. Okay, you know what? It's a game journalist. It's an entertainment journalist. We're just gonna put it at that. It's tabbed for later. It says, but the series boasts a new main cast to suit the blend of 80s modern YA fantasy that him and his collaborators have brought to bear. This time, Willow is accompanied by a whole ensemble squad of mostly teenagers, each pulling and pushing against fantasy tropes that will be excitingly familiar to an audience in an era where D&D is mainstream and young adult fiction is full of plucky heroes and heroines. It says the role of Elora Danan, the legendary infant chosen one who is destined to save the world, has been kept under tight wraps, but nevertheless she casts a long shadow over the series and its stars. The two mains are Kit and Dove, both young women who wrestle with the legacy of her, but Kit's owned... I'm not even gonna say it. Part may come to overshadow Dove's in conversations about the show, as a good part of her journey is realizing that she's in mutual love with her best friend. I don't know. This just is off to a very bad start. And keep in mind, I believe it's, yeah, which actress is it? One of these actresses was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. She played the bad guy. Bad actress. But that's fine, you know, then maybe I'll change my mind. In a long overdue and welcome development for fantasy cinema, television, and the Disney Corporation itself, Kit and Jade, oh, it's Jade, of course, are as though someone took every tomboy fantasy heroine in YA literature canon, tossed them into a blender, and flipped a big mad scientist lever from subtext to text. That is fucking lame. That is the most lame description of characters I've ever fucking heard. I am not sorry. I am not sorry. I just... Reading this, it doesn't feel natural. It says, Polygon sat down with the creator to talk first and foremost about being the first true franchise on Disney Plus to really center a queer story. Okay, so Polygon didn't want to sit down with them and actually talk about the content and talk about the story and what went into, you know, making the show. They wanted to sit down to talk about the queer story. Okay, priorities are a bit off in my opinion. They also wanted to talk about weird movies from the 80s. Haha, I'm weird and quirky. I do have to say though, Kit does look pretty badass. I think Kit looks good. I mean, not terrible. I think the outfit's pretty sweet. So they said, how did a queer relationship come to be the core of this show? When did it enter the process and was there any pushback? No, there was no pushback. What's interesting is I hope and I believe we're at a moment where you're going to see a paradigm shift in that, and hopefully the way it's going to happen is that these kind of queer stories, particularly like this one, that were just organic to the narrative we were telling, find their way in, and it becomes less of a surprising and unusual thing to see. Listen, I'm fine with seeing queer relationships, but fuck, come on. It doesn't need to be part of every story. I don't even want to see a romance in every story. That doesn't matter if it's two girls, two guys, if it's a straight romance, if it's a guy and a girl. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't even want to see a romance in every story. Do we need a romance in this one? No. You know why? Because it's never going to top the original Willow. It's nothing in this show is going to top the original. It's never going, these characters aren't going to top the characters from the first. They're not going to do better than them. They're not going to rebuild them. They're not going to do anything with the show. The show shouldn't even fucking exist. It's just so bad. Because it's part of the landscape of the world around us, just like the diversity elements of casting. If you look at the original Willow, by no fault of anyone, it's not very diverse. I guess, okay, I guess I have to give this guy props because he's at least not saying, we wanted to right the wrongs of the first one. The first one's trash, and nobody hired diverse cast members, and they're all bigots. At least he's not saying that. But he still had a hand in this concoction. It says, as we enter 2022, the world has changed in the way we're absorbing entertainment, and the faces we're reflecting in entertainment have expanded enormously. I hate how these people act like there weren't diverse actors in the 80s in Hollywood. 80s, 90s, 2000s, literally any time other than 2022. I hate it. Stop acting like only white people were in entertainment, because that's not the case. One thing I love about the movie is that you have this very classical fantasy, but at the heart of it, you still have this very contemporary Val Kilmer character who has a sound that it's unlike any other 80s fantasy character that's ever been. Listen, they're trying to hype us up for this series. And, like, I get that. That's their job. Their job is to go into this and get people excited and make people feel confident in it. I don't feel confident in this. I don't feel excited. And as someone who has loved Willow, there's no way you could get me excited for this, because this doesn't need to exist. And I don't want to... I don't want to watch this when they're clearly going to ruin Willow. Like, they're not going into interviews talking about how amazing it was to work with these actors and how talented everyone was. They're not going into it talking about, we wanted to respect the original and we wanted to just grow on it and build on it. And this is what they're talking about, is they're talking about, oh, what kind of representation did we throw into this? Oh, what kind of inclusivity did we throw into this? Just do it. Just shut up and just do it. If you're gonna put, you know, this couple in it, okay, then do it. Don't make that the only material in the promotional trailers, interviews, teasers. I mean, this is just another classic case of them taking a beloved franchise and just turning it up to 100% because they're adding all these narratives, the diversity, the inclusivity. Look at us, we're doing all these things differently than previously done. It's just very tiring, and honestly, I gotta say, I'm not impressed. Like most people are probably not. So, guys, what is your opinion on the Willow TV series? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Are you even going to watch it? Don't worry, Willow has girls that kiss boys too. I mean, cool, but my argument still stays where you don't need a bunch of romance storylines. Not every character has to be romantically interested in another. Like, okay, you've already got one romance. Do we need, like, 5 others? No. It's just the same shit with these people. They can't come up with anything new. They can't come up with anything good. So they take these franchises and they fuck them over. The Willow trailer just looks lame. It does. It really does. I, of course, am going to watch it because I'm a content creator. I'm sitting here talking about it, so I'm going to watch it to judge it for you guys. I am not excited for this. I've got to be honest. Yeah, sadly, Val Kilmer couldn't be in it. But they said that they're trying, I at least I'm pretty sure said that they were trying to carry on his memory. And he has a big part of this story, even though his character isn't in it, which I guess is good, but also, why do we need another Willow movie or show? I don't think that we do. You have to watch it and love it. Definitely. You have to watch it and love it. Yeah, definitely. I know I just repeated that twice, but it's okay. Anyone else excited for Disney rebooting Firefly? Has there been any updates to that? Have they said anything else about that? Disney Firefly reboot. Is there like any news? Val is still alive, but he can't talk anymore. Yeah, he can't talk anymore, so. And in something like Maverick, at least, you know, they found a way to work with it because technology, but they can't do that with Willow, really. Yeah, there's nothing new from what I see for a reboot, but I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times. Val Kilmer was a great actor. It's just very sad that, you know, he can't really act anymore. It's very sad. A straight couple, the world is safe. I know, right? It's like they have this whole article about queer romance is front and center. And then they go, okay, well, in case you're mad about the queer romance, there is still a straight romance. Okay, what about the actual fucking content in the show? What about the rest of the show? What about the story? Like, okay, I get it, but any other substance? No, that's the answer. No. Alright, guys. Next, we're going to talk about Will Wheaton. One of the biggest soy boy cucks in the industry. I dislike Will Wheaton. I'm sure most of you dislike Will Wheaton. And of course, there have been epic meltdowns about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. Lots of social justice warriors who are furious leftists going online saying awful things because they're mad about him buying the platform. But now, Will Wheaton has melted down over Elon Musk, saying he's hurting our society and making people I care about less safe. How does this billionaire buying the Bird app make our society bad or hurt our society or make people less safe? Truly, I don't understand. It says, the chain of events that led to his meltdown began on November 19th. I'm about to depart, said someone, on the red carpet of Bones and All, a romantic horror film. Okay. Who asked? We don't need the arrogance of the billionaire class to feel like they can just come in and solve everything. Even without him involved, I just find that it has become such a toxic environment. For my mental health, I need to tune out. I don't feel good being there anymore. And then, he deleted his account. And then on November 21st, in reply to the observation by a Twitter user that it had been 48 hours since Elon Musk reinstated President Trump's Twitter account and the world still hasn't ended, of course, Elon Musk decided to post a little meme saying it turns out that Trent 9-Inch Nails Reznor is actually a crybaby. And then it started. Will Wheaton... Is this a Facebook post? This is a Facebook post. Will Wheaton went on Facebook. I cannot fathom the emptiness, insecurity, the insatiable need for attention and validation, the staggering arrogance, the malevolence, and total void of human experience that is Elon Musk. Actually, Will Wheaton describing himself. He's the richest man on the planet. You can't go anywhere or do anything without interacting with something he's part of in some way. There are literal millions of people who uncritically worship him in spite of overwhelming evidence that he is a douchebag. He is actually mask off jealous as fuck right now. Some number of them will come after me as they come after anyone who points at their naked emperor. They'll spend entire days going after me and people like me, slavishly serving a man who does not know they exist. I'm gonna fall asleep reading this. He can have any material thing he wants and he will never be happy or satisfied. He has no real friends. Every single person around him is either a viper, a parasite, or both. He is so fucking jealous. Holy shit. Brother. Oh my god. He's really melting down. So what does he do? He bullies and threatens and harasses and trolls and behaves like a weak, scared, insecure child he's always been. Actually, Will Wheaton right now, you could just go on about your day like a normal human being. You are the one going on social media, calling Elon Musk names and calling anyone he knows names. That's a tragedy for him, but it's dangerous for us. He doesn't care what he destroys or who he hurts as he chases this existential thing he cannot ever have. I'm sorry, but this is cringe. Cringe. Now listen, okay? I get it, right? Will Wheaton doesn't like Elon Musk. That's cool. You're allowed to dislike people. I don't like every single thing that Elon Musk has ever said or done. But you are just as bad as the person you are talking about if he actually acted the way that he was talking about. Will Wheaton is going on social media crying about the fact that he doesn't like Elon, saying that Elon is a dangerous person because he's got a following. And he's calling Elon these childish insults and names. Anyone Elon knows childish insults and names. I mean, does he not realize how much projection he's doing here? He is. He's trying to stay relevant. He has been trying to stay relevant, and clearly it's not working out very well for him. But this is why everyone fucking hates him. 'Cause he's a little shit. He's been a little shit. He will be a little shit. He will never not be a little shit. But, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to waste much time on this one because fuck Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton is melting down over Elon Musk becoming Twitter's CEO because he's saying that he's hurting our society and making people he cares about less safe. Now, does he actually give any examples as to how he's hurting society? No. Because that's what people like him do. They say these crazy things, and then they don't back it up with any kind of information or clarification. It's just, it's gonna hurt people. How's it gonna hurt people? It's gonna hurt people. Dumb ass. I hate Will Wheaton. Do not like him. He's just jealous that people know Elon Musk and like Elon Musk, and that Elon Musk has money and he doesn't. Yeah, how old is Will Wheaton at this point? Will Wheaton age 50. Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought that he was around there. Well, you've been irrelevant for 50 whole years, and you're still gonna be irrelevant. That must hurt. That must hurt to know. Yeah, who needs proof? Especially when you're Will Wheaton. You know, you don't need to provide any proof. That's so below you. I've used the word a lot tonight, and I hate the word cringe, but he is fucking cringe. I hate Will Wheaton. Ugh. I don't even want to waste time talking about this fool. Next, we're going to talk about Helena Bonham Carter, someone I actually like. To end off the night, going to be a little bit more positive. We're going to talk about someone a little bit better than Will Wheaton, that's for shit sure. And, yeah, we're gonna be talking about her and JK and Johnny Depp. As soon as I say Johnny Depp's name, everything becomes demonetized, so happy demonetization, ladies and gentlemen. Helena Bonham Carter is someone who is very popular in Hollywood. She's very well off. And she has decided to make a statement that I'm sure is going to infuriate the ever-living shit out of social justice warriors, because she has decided to, 1, defend J.K. Rowling, 2, defend Johnny Depp, and 3, rail against cancel culture. Absolutely queen behavior here. So, it says she is making it quite clear how she feels about so-called cancel culture, along with sharing her thoughts on JD and JK. During an interview with The Times that published online, she criticized the notion that someone's personal life should impact their career. Do you ban a genius for their sexual practices? There would be millions of people who, if you looked at closely enough at their personal life, you would disqualify them. You can't ban people. I hate cancel culture. It has become quite hysterical, and there's a kind of witch hunt and a lack of understanding. Absolutely queen behavior. When asked whether there is a path of redemption for such Hollywood notables, she said, "I don't think there is for someone like Kevin Spacey, and Johnny certainly went through it." I do agree. I think that there are people who can't redeem themselves. Someone like Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, people who, as I always say, who have been convicted of something, people who have been, proven guilty in a court of law, then yeah, I don't think that they can come back from that. Should they? That's up to personal opinion. But I don't think that there's a path for those people. But when it comes to just having an opinion, then anyone can come back from anything, and nobody should be canceled over their own opinions. It says, in responding to a follow-up question specifically about Depp, who has co-starred with her in multiple films, she said that she feels the star is completely vindicated, and she said, "I think he's fine now, totally fine." Sadly, he's not. I wish that he was. I think that he should be. I completely agree with her, but Hollywood as a whole doesn't view it that way. Hollywood thinks that he is a terrible person, he's a disgusting individual, and they're siding still, in a lot of cases, with Amber. Now, I don't think it'll be that way forever, because Johnny is a very popular, very well-off celebrity. He's great at his job, and there's a reason why he was one of the best, highest paid actors for years and years and years, basically his whole fucking career. But sadly, Hollywood doesn't really forgive. And even though Johnny was proven innocent, it doesn't matter to them, because they still view him as wrong. They still view him as guilty because they want to. That's the unfortunate thing about the situation. When asked whether a Virginia jury awarding him 15 in his defamation suit against her earlier this year was a sign of the Me Too pendulum swinging back, she replied, "My view is that she got on that pendulum. That's the problem with these things. The people will jump on the bandwagon because it's the trend, and to be the poster girl for it." The Me Too movement has definitely shifted. since the Amber and Johnny trial, for sure. A lot of people think that it's bullshit at this point. I think that it's going to be around for a long time, and there's still going to be a lot of people who do side with Amber just because she's a woman, and because she said these things happened to her, even though it's proven to be a liar. Allegedly, of course. Allegedly. But, yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. People do jump on a bandwagon because it's a trend, because it can boost up their career, it can gain them money, fame, notoriety, and that's all that Amber ever really cared about. She saw a good opportunity to divorce this man and to try to ruin his reputation and kill his career, and she did. During the trial, Depp denied ever striking Amber and accused her of lying about the alcohol and drug use. He and Helena have worked together in multiple films. Again, I think that she's a great actress. I really do. I think that she definitely has a style to her acting, and it works a lot of the time. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything that I dislike. I mean, even if in something like The Crown, even though I wasn't really that big into The Crown, she still did a fucking fantastic job as Princess Margaret. But she also talked about Harry Potter. She had said about Rowling, it's horrendous, a load of bollocks. I think she has been hounded. It's been taken to the extreme in judgmentalism of people. She's allowed her opinion, particularly if she's suffered abuse. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think that just because someone has suffered some kind of abuse, that means that their opinion matters more, or they should have more of a chance to voice their opinion. I don't know. I mean, I agree with everything else, though, that she says. Everybody is, allowed her opinion, and if that's, Rowling's viewpoint, that's her viewpoint. It says everybody carries their own history, and trauma informs their opinions from that trauma, and you have to respect where people come from and their pain. I do agree with that. You don't all have to agree on everything. That would just be insane and boring. She's not meaning it aggressively. She's just saying something out of her own experience, which is true. I might not agree with every single thing that J.K. Rowling has ever done or said, but she still has a right to her own opinion, and that's it at the end of the day. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinion, and they shouldn't be canceled for it unless they are physically harming someone. Unless they're saying, hey, you should go and kill this person, you should go and hurt this person, you should go and do that person. That's another level, though. Then we're getting into illegal territory. We're getting into violence, okay? J.K. Rowling is not saying anything like that. J.K., again, has done some questionable things, like how she changed Harry Potter and Dumbledore's story to make him gay so that she could appeal to social justice warriors and the social justice crowd, and now, unfortunately for her, she's being eaten by her kind, but it's still her opinions at the end of the day with everything that's happened, and she's allowed to have them. And I think that Helena is a fantastic actress. I think that she is great at what she does. She has always been great at what she does. I think that we do not see enough female actresses who come out and voice their opinions on things, and I think that this is a great situation because she is voicing her opinion. She doesn't give a fuck what Hollywood's gonna think about her because she knows her worth, and she knows that she's worth a lot to Hollywood. But sadly, if she was someone who wasn't such a big actress, I do think that her career would be damaged, just like when I talked about it like 3 weeks ago. What is her name? Emily Blunt. Just like when Emily Blunt a couple weeks ago came out and said, I think that strong, independent women in Hollywood are fucking stupid. I think that these characters are boring and lazy. If she wasn't the actress that she is, she would be canceled. Same with Helena. I think that she'll be fine, but if she wasn't the actress she was, she would also be canceled. So, yeah, guys, those were the topics that we had to discuss tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. We'll hang out for a little bit longer. Yeah, she did retcon Dumbledore, which, I mean, it's her creation. It's her opinion. I always say this, if a creator wants to do something with their work, that's fine. It's their choice. It is what it is. Can I acknowledge and see why she did it? Yeah, I can. And it was kind of shitty. She just wanted to appeal to a certain crowd. But it was her choice. It's her work. I mean, it's like Sandman. It's why I didn't really cover the Sandman show when it came out, because ultimately Neil Gaiman was the one behind the show making those decisions for his characters. It's his creation. They're his characters. He can race swap, gender swap, sexualize swap anyone he wants, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can criticize about that. I can say I don't like the direction compared to the original characters, but it's not my place to say you shouldn't do that. So, yeah, it is what it is. Sandman was... I don't think that it was terrible, but I don't think that it was great either. It was fine. I don't know, I just wasn't a big fan of a lot of it. I wonder if she regrets pandering to the far left now. I'm sure she does to a certain extent, yes. But at the same time, it's not like it matters, right? Because she did it initially to make sales, and she wasn't canceled until a couple of years later. So she still got those people sales. Yeah, she's not getting their sales now, but it doesn't matter to her, you know? Back when she retconned Dumbledore in, 2009, 10, 11, 12, whenever it was, right around there, she made extra sales off of them. I respect the hustle to a certain extent, even though I think that the decision was poor. Yeah, the race swaps in Sandman were a lot. I thought a lot of the actors themselves were decent actors. I just don't think a lot of them could play their characters. And guys, it fucking triggered me in Sandman. This fucking actor's in everything now, okay? You know the actor in the Cowboy Bebop live action who played Gren? They were in that. They were in that. They were what, Lust? They're in everything now. Mason, whatever their name was. Cowboy Bebop, live action cat. They're in everything now. I keep seeing them. I'm like, can you go away? I don't want you here. They're not a good actor. They're not good. No, I want Cowboy Bebop, live action, Netflix cast. What is their name? What is their name? I'm gonna fall asleep having to find it. Oh, having to see Cowboy Bebop live action again. Oof. Spike Spiegel! Oh no. Oh hell no. Brother, I gotta get out of here as fast as possible. I found their name. They're in everything now. Yeah. Quantum Leap reboot, which also... Don't even waste your time. Quantum Leap reboot, absolutely fucking terrible. Sandman, not great. Legends of Vox Machina, not it. Sorry, not it. This doesn't have upcoming works, but they do have a bunch of upcoming work as well, because I keep seeing their name pop up everywhere. I'm leave me alone. Leave me alone. Vera being triggered, but it's so funny though. The whole Spike Spiegel shit, that will forever be ingrained in my head. It's so bothersome. No, not the character who played Ed. Luckily. The actor who played Gren. What killed The Witcher to me was the obvious disdain for the characters like Triss. Oh yeah, I mean, that was a massive problem with the Witcher show. I wonder what they're gonna do with The Witcher now. I wonder if they're gonna end it after season 3. I know that they hired Liam Hemsworth for the next season. Honestly, I don't even know if they'll go through with it. I think it would be a mistake. But yeah. Yeah, Google sucks, but it pops up. And that's good enough for me. Well, actually, this is Bing. I use Bing because I want the Bing points. Because I like free money. Bing. It gives you free money. I click their stupid little surveys every day. If they're harvesting my information, I guess it is what it is, because I've redeemed like $100 worth of gift cards. So honestly, you can take my information. Listen, life is expensive, and well, if I can make $1, I'm gonna make $1. Yeah, Witcher live action's pretty bad. I mean, it's like I always say, it had some great elements. It had some really great elements. It just overall wasn't a good show. It had major problems. But anyway, guys, I'll be wrapping up stream in about 5 minutes. So if you have any questions or topics, feel free to put them in chat. Thank you for being here. Eggnog is disgusting, and if you drink eggnog, you are a great person, and definitely not disgusting too. Yeah, a buck is a buck. I've gotten like $100 worth of gift cards off that shit, because I take 5 minutes out of my day to click buttons. Hell yeah! John Cho was good. I don't know, I think he's a good actor. I do think that he was too old to play Spike, though. I mean, he was 25 years too old to play Spike. And he doesn't look bad for his age. Absolutely not. He just looked too old to play Spike. Eggnog is absolutely fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I saw alcohol eggnog the other day. Absolutely not. I would have that. I'd have to be paid a lot. Those would be like $100 shots. Those would be $100 shots. Not a 25er, not a 50er, $100, and I'll take a shot of eggnog, whatever it was. Actually, they had a couple different kinds. That is disgusting. Absolutely not. Ugh. That is just terrible. John Cho is not in Squid Games now. Yeah, the Quantum Leap, the reboot it's... I gave up on it. I tried. I was like, oh, I'll watch it. Maybe. Maybe. But it was really bad. Eggnog is incredible. Surely. Even the name is gross, right? Ooh. Ugh. Jeez. The editing was awful in season 1. Season 1 of what? Of Witcher? Is that? Yeah. I mean, Witcher season 1, I understood the concept, right? The different characters, but their time periods were different, and at the end, all of their stories were lined up. I saw the vision there. I liked the vision. I just felt like the problem was that that wasn't like a running theme, so they didn't do that in season 2, and they weren't going to do it in season 3. I felt like it was It was good in season 1. I just felt like it could have been done a little bit better. You've got Vera thinking about eggnog. Ugh. That's shit. Eggnog is the shit. You shut your face. No, eggnog is just shit. Period. Any thoughts on the Wednesday show? I have not watched it. I like the Addams Family. Apparently it overthrew Stranger Things, which is cool. Good for them. I haven't watched it yet, though. I will watch it at some point. But I just haven't gotten a chance to. I've been finishing 1899 because it was from the creators of Dark, and Dark is my favorite show of all time. But alright, guys. With that being said, Vera, are you feeling okay? You look a bit green. All this eggnog talk has me feeling a little bit green. Alright, guys. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap up the live stream here. Thank you all so much. I forgot the so. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do really appreciate it. If you didn't see... Oh.
Daniel Maloney donated $5.
Two things popped up on my screen.
A Coca-Cola float is better than eggnog. I recommend that, Farah. Also, here is my misogyny.
The word
test.
eggnog. That is gross. Thank you for the 5, though. Thank you for paying your misogyny tax. I do really appreciate it. Also, Productions, thank you for the 4 months as a Bronze Titan. I don't know what kind of psychopath thinks eggnog tastes bad. Are you sure I'm the psychopath? I don't know. But alright, you guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. Thank you for the donations and the support. I did upload today, so if you didn't see that, go and check it out. Past few days worth of videos, of course. Next stream will be on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will be finishing Gotham Knights, and then over the weekend, we'll be playing Callisto Protocol, and then next week, big things happening, big announcements in a couple days. But, yeah. Before you leave, make sure to give the stream a like. We need 7 more to hit 100. Check out links in the description. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, Getter. Join our Discord server. We're very active there. And of course, I do tag you all when I go live in case YouTube doesn't notify you of the live stream. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a fantastic evening, everyone.